Hey everybody, so this is going to be a quick video on how to do some a little bit more advanced things in Qualtrics. So we're going to cover sharing surveys in Qualtrics. We're going to cover how to change scales, how to change all sorts of things about the question items. We're even going to talk about randomizing between blocks and randomizing within blocks. All right, and identifying what a block even is. Okay, so we're going to do a lot of stuff today, and hopefully putting it in a video will make it easier to find, because you can just scroll through it. You didn't catch something, just rewind back and you can catch it again. So hopefully this video will be useful in constructing your surveys. All right, so I'm going to share the screen with you. Here we go. So this is just my Qualtrics account, and you can see all my categories over here, and then I've clicked on a category, and so I've got my surveys here. If I want, so the first thing we're going to cover is how to share. So if I wanted to share this survey called example here, then in order to share it, I would click on these three buttons. I'd come up here to collaborate, and I'd click that. That brings up this dialog box. Now, to collaborate, I need the person's email address, and you can share even with people at other schools, in other institutions. All you need is their email address, specifically the email address that they use or that they've got their Qualtrics account registered with. And so all you do is you come up here, type in their email address, click add, and done. Now when you do that, their name will come up here and a bunch of boxes will pop up right here. Every box that you select gives the person you're sharing the survey with the ability to do that thing. So if you click the box under edit, the person you're sharing the survey with can now edit your survey. If you click the box under view reports, the person you're sharing the survey with can now view reports. All right, so they can look at your data and everything else. So what I advise you do, and certainly if you're ever sharing it with me, click all of them. All right, so you type in my email address, then you're going to click all of those options and then save, done. All right, and that's how you share. Now I'm going to go in here and I'm going to show you some things. So I've got in here just a couple things that are pre-made to show you how to do various things. The first thing we're going to do is I'm going to come down here to my question. First thing I'm going to do is help you identify what a block is. So you'll note that if you see consent block here, you see this little arrow. If I click that, all the questions that were below it go away. All right, that's because all of these questions are in that block. All right, and this is a block. This is a block, and so you can kind of see visually the differences between blocks. Right? So right here, here's the last block, here's a block, here's a block, and there's the beginning of the next block down there. So those are blocks, and you can randomize blocks. You can also randomize within blocks, but we'll come back to that here in a second. First thing we're going to do, though, is I'm going to show you how to modify the scale and the scale anchors of a multiple choice question. So here we've got a multiple choice question, all right, and I've got a generic text in there, but first, we can do a lot of things with the question, all right? And so we're going to cover that in this video too. But like I said, the first thing we're going to do is cover how we can change the scale numbers and scale anchors. So to do that, once I've selected the question, I come up here to choices. I can change how many questions are in it. So if it's a 5-point Likert scale, if I'm trying to put a scale that has participants respond using a 5-point Likert scale, then I need 5 items in here. If they respond on a 7-point Likert scale, I bump that up to 7. Here's my 7. Now, once I've got that, I can change the orientation. I can keep it horizontal like it is here now, or I can come down to position and click vertical. And now it's up and down. Now, when I click horizontal, Qualtrics will occasionally give you a signal over here that says, hey, there's something up with this question. Specifically, what it's telling you is that when participants see this question, if they look at it on a phone, they're going to see it differently than if they look at it on a computer. So when people see surveys on a phone, all of the questions are vertical, all right, and so all the answers are up and down. If you make the question horizontal, then if they're looking at a computer, they'll see it horizontally. But if they look at it on their phone, it'll be switched so that it's vertical. All right. So to keep things consistent, I typically just make everything vertical because I like things to be consistent. Now I can also change the anchors. So I've changed the number of responses. Now I can change the anchors. And all I have to do to change the anchors is just click on the text next to it. So here's text, here's text, here's text, here's text. I just have to click on the text, and then I can start typing. Right? So 7. I'm just making this up. All right. It doesn't matter. Okay. I'm just showing you that you can change the anchor that way. Okay. So there you go. There's changing the number of points in a Likert scale. Now each of these have to have text on them. If you try to delete all of the text, you delete the option. All right. And so you notice that this went back to 6. So they all need to have something on there. And if you don't insert something in there, like I put 6, 7, 3, all that, if you don't insert something in there, Qualtrics will default and put that in there. So your participants will see click to write choice 5. All right. You don't want that. Okay. Even if those numbers don't have an anchor, give them a number like this. So 1, not at all, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, very much. All right, so even if they don't have an anchor, you still want a number in there. All right. Now, let's go up here to question. Well, I can click on the question, and now I can change the question, right? I can change it to whatever I want. Did you like your supper last night? I mean, it literally can be whatever. I mean, if you're putting a questionnaire in here, then in here you're going to type whatever the question is. But let's say that you're trying to design something where you want people to evaluate pictures. Well, I would need them to see a picture in there. Well, I can do that. I can't do it from this simple interface. What I have to do is I got to go to Rich Content Editor. That opens this up. Click More just so you can see all your options. And then I'm going to press space down to change my question, and press down to move my question out of the way. Now to add my picture, I come up here, I click on Insert Graphic. It's then going to pull up all the questions that I've downloaded. Now I'm not going to pull that up because there's a bunch of images in there, and some folks may participate in my research someday, and then they identify it by looking at my pictures. So I'm not going to click on that. But if you click on that, it's going to bring up all the pictures that you downloaded to UCO Qualtrics, or not to UCO Qualtrics, but to Qualtrics, to your Qualtrics account. If you haven't uploaded any, then there's going to be a green button that says Upload. All right, we'll just click Upload and upload your picture. So you will have to have your picture saved to a flash drive or to your computer. And then when you click Upload, you have to search through your computer's files to find your picture. That's why I advise always saving your pictures to an easy to find place. I usually use my desktop. And then you click your picture, select Open, it uploads it, and then you can click on that image once it uploads it, so that it will be put in right here. Okay, and then you can type a question underneath it if you want, or just leave it be. Okay. Now, what if you wanted to insert a graph, like a video? Well, now you click here. All right, and then you have a couple options. You can either upload a video that you've uploaded of your own to Qualtrics, to the Qualtrics server. That's one way you can do it. But in terms of memory space, storage space, that's a pretty hefty thing to do. The load time may take a bit. So what I ordinarily do is I insert a link to a YouTube video. So if I want them to see a video, I upload it to YouTube and then put the link to YouTube in here. Now, once it's once the link is put in here, a picture from YouTube will pop up and you can see it. So you can see what the video is about, and then when they're taking the survey, they'll just click play on it like they would click play on any YouTube video, and the video will play. All right. So that right there is how you change the scale, change the scale values. So changing the scale is changing the number of items you have. Changing the scale anchors, right? That's changing these, the 1, not at all, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, very much. And then how to change the question. We've talked about how to do all of that. Let me just change this back to what I have. Now, the last things I wanted to mention were how to randomize. So if you want to randomize within block, what you do is you come up here to block options, click that, you can see that down arrow there. You click that, go to question randomization. Now you can randomize all of it, but if you have instructions like I do, you can see here in the background I have an instructions question. What I would do is I would go down here to advanced randomization. This gives you the option of choosing certain questions to randomize and certain questions not to. So and then you can even choose some not to display if you wanted to. So you can get very fancy with this, but at its simplest, if all you want to do is randomize the questions, just select your questions, move them into this top box over there. And so you see in the list, you've got instructions and then randomize, randomize, randomize. That means they're going to see the instructions first, and then they're going to see one of these, and then a second of these, and then a third of these. Which one is the first, second, or third is randomized. Okay. Then you just click save, and then you can click save, and now they're randomized. So within block is randomized. But you can also randomize between blocks. And the reason this is cool is because this is how you can do an experiment in Qualtrics using survey methods. You can randomize whether participants see your experimental condition block or your control condition block. So for example, I've come up here and I've got two blocks here. I've got my rejection condition and I've got my control condition. You know, so in this one, I'm asking them to describe a time they were rejected and how it felt and what the experience was like. In here, I might have them write about what the weather has been like for the last couple months, whatever, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. All right, well, to randomize those, I'm going to come up here to survey flow. So I'd scroll all the way to the top. You can see my scroll bar, I'm all the way at the top. I'm going to click on survey flow. And you can see I've already done it, but I'm going to go ahead and undo what I've done so that I can show you what I did. Undo what I've done to show you what I did. Yeah, okay. So I got my consent block and I want everybody to see that, and I want everybody to see it first. So I want it to be at the top of this flow chart. Next, I want them to get either my rejection condition or my control condition, but I don't want them to get both. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come up here to my consent block and I'm going to click add below. It's going to give me a bunch of options of things I can add, and we can cover all those later if you want, but for right now, since I'm just showing you how to randomize block, I'm going to click on the thing that I would use to randomize them, which is randomizer. Now, again, I want them to see either the random condition or, the rejection condition or the control condition. I only want them to see one, and I want it to be randomized. So I'm going to come over here to where it says move, hover my mouse over move, click it, and pull it up. See how that add a new element turns green there? I'm going to let it go, and there it is. I'm going to do the same thing for control below it. Boom. Now, if you come back up here, you'll notice it says randomly present 2 of the following items. Well, I only want them to see 1, and I want it to be random. And I want roughly the same amount of people to see each one. So I'm going to click the minus button to turn that to 1, and I'm going to come over here and click evenly present elements. So now, participants will see the consent block. Then they will randomly see one of these 2. They will randomly be presented with 1 of the following elements, and that'll be evenly, and the number of times each one is shown will be evenly distributed. Now let's say I want them to also randomly see one of these 2 vignettes. Well, then I just click add below on the randomizer, choose a randomizer again, and then I move my vignettes up. I only want them to see 1 though, so again I'm going to click the minus button to turn that down to 1, and I want them to be evenly distributed, or not evenly distributed, but evenly presented, and so I click evenly present elements again. So now what's going to happen? And they're going to see this, They're going to be randomly shown one of these, and then randomly shown one of these. They're then going to get my questionnaire. Note that this has block 6, block 7, block 8, and block 9. This is the reason you want to change the titles of your blocks, all right? Because I don't know what these blocks are. Now I'm going to click Save Flow, otherwise everything I've done will be undone. It won't be saved. And I'm going to come back down here to see what these blocks are. So block 6 apparently is a neutral video condition. All right. That's how I just changed the block name. So if I go back up here to survey, survey flow, click survey flow, boom, there we go. So it's always important to label your blocks as well. All right. Otherwise, when you get up here in the survey flow, you won't know what each block is, and you'll just have to remember the numbers. Rather than doing that and creating a way to trip yourself up, just label your block, your blocks. All right. And that, my friends, is that for this Qualtrics how-to video. All right, guys. If you have any questions, send them my way. But if not, I hope this video helps, and I'll see you all later.